that myself and anyone younger are not going to be able to buy a home anytime soon?
There are a lot of reasons. So when I graduated from college in 1986, 87, most people, if you went on a date by like 1988, and the first question was, where do you own? And of course, I bought my first townhome in 1988 and Placentia for $100,000. Now, when you go on a date, you ask, where are you renting? Because nobody even thinks you can possibly buy a home under 30. And the reason is, there's a lot of reasons. The first is that home prices have just completely outstripped income the last 10 years. I read a stat the other day that you need the average income in order able to afford the average price home was over $374,000 in Orange County. What percent of households make $374,000? Well, that's less than 5%. The stat is that only 12% of all households can buy a property in Orange County. There's a number of reasons for this. First, a lot of governments are anti-housing, so you have a lack of supply. When you have a lack of supply, you have fewer homes for sale, and there are fewer homes for sale because of Prop 13. If you don't know, when you buy a property, I bought a property a few years ago, and I paid $500,000 for that property. That property is now worth over $1 million, but my property tax is still sitting at $500,000 a year. So there's less incentive for me to sell because I will lose that property tax because when I buy it moves up. Of course, rates used to be very low for a few years, and people have locked in a low rate of 3 or 4%, and now rates are sitting at 6 and 7%, and so it makes housing more expensive again. So there's a lot of the reasons stacked against you. When I first got in the real estate industry, people bought and sold a home on average every 5 to 6 years. That's now 17 years. People only buying 2 homes in their lifetime. And so you have far fewer homes on the market. On top of that, particularly in Orange County, you have an older community, meaning that you have people who bought a home maybe in 1980 or 85, and if they don't sell by the time they're 65, well, they're going to come out of that house feet first. They're going to die in that property. And then when they die, their kids might not even sell it. They might even keep it as a rental. So there's so many reasons why it's really hard to buy a home in Orange County, and it's not going to get better. And there's no reason in the near future that home prices are going to be less expensive, that property tax is going to be touched by any politician, that people decide to wake up and start selling their home and moving to Colorado. And so we're creating a renter society. In California, only 55% of households own, 45% rent, and that number could be 50-50 here in the next 5 to 10 years. So when I sell a property, what I typically see is parents buying for the kids, putting the money down because they've been able to save the money. It's just so hard to save money when you're Garrett's age, when you're 30 years old, because if you're even getting paid well after taxes, after you pay rent, after you pay your insurance, after you pay your car and your telephone and your 8 different streaming services, there's no money left over to save for a down payment. So you rely on your parents to come up for that, if you have parents with that kind of money. So unfortunately for you all, it's for a lot of you, probably in the neighborhood of 70% of you won't be buying anytime soon.
Well, that's